Hey friends, Jessie here. Welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome. For today's video, we're going to be closing out my June budget. And in order to do that, I got a lot of stuff I have to do. So this video might be a little bit longer. Go ahead and pause, grab yourself a drink or a snack. While you're at it, if you haven't done so already, click the subscribe button and let's get into it. The first step to closing out my June budget is to figure out what we spent the last week of June. And so I need to fill in my expense tracker with everything we spent this week. Usually I film my expense tracking video as one video and then my check-in as another. This time around, with it already being into July, I'm a little bit behind. I'm gonna go ahead and put it all into one long video. So I'm gonna try to get through this pretty quick so that this video doesn't go on forever. Let's talk about everything I spent in July. The last week of July. So I'm gonna try to get through this relatively quickly. Let's go ahead and talk about everything I spent in the last week of June, which was June 25th through July 1st. Technically, that first day of July was kind of wrapped up in this week. I always like to start my budgeting week on Tuesday, since my husband and I are paid on Tuesday. And so we didn't get our first paycheck of July until July 2nd. So that's why July 1st is in here. I have already written, you can see here, $108. I don't know what category I want to take this out of. I don't know if I want to take it out of our monthly budget buffer or what, but I took $108 out of our budget to put towards our savings challenges. I really wanted to make an additional payment to my debt. I use all of the money that I set aside in my savings challenge video. I will link the latest one. If you missed it, you can check it out. But I wanted to make an additional payment, so I took some extra money out of our budget. $108 is what I needed to make that happen. So I already wrote it down in here because I wanted to make sure I didn't forget it. I'm not sure what category I want to take it from, so I think I'm just going to categorize it as buffer. We have a buffer in my monthly budget. And I don't even know for sure what day this was. So I'm just going to put it down as June 25th. I think it was probably later on in the week, but regardless, the date doesn't really matter in this case. We have a buffer in our budget every month because you never know when something's going to come up that I neglected to think about. Very rarely do we actually use the buffer unless we go over budget in a category. So in this case, I'm just going to take that $108 out of our buffer, and that was for my savings challenges so that I could make an additional debt payment. So that takes care of that. I wanted to make sure that that was covered. Also on the 25th, I had my husband's motorcycle insurance come out. That is categorized as auto pay. We have a bunch of little bills and subscriptions and things that come out of our account automatically, this being one of them, and that was $26.01. On the 26th, we did some spending. So that's the category, spending. The amount that we spent was $4.98. We also, on the 27th, did some spending at Speedway. And the amount here was $5.49. Couldn't tell you what we bought. I don't remember. I do remember that on the 27th, my husband went to the pharmacy to pick up my inhaler that I needed. And so that came out of spending as well. And that amount was $36.31. Moving on, we did our grocery shopping this day. It was Walmart. The category here is grocery. I did film a grocery haul, so you can check that out if you missed it. and it was $145.58. Some more extraneous spending. I think this was a gallon of milk. We've been going through more milk recently. So I need to start just ordering 2 gallons of milk a week instead of just 1. But in this case, we ran out of milk. My son has been doing a ton of protein shakes and stuff. That was $9.92. And then we went back to Walmart on the 29th. I took my husband with me. He really wanted some steaks. When I did my grocery shopping, didn't buy steaks. And I had him with me. Somehow we ended up spending almost $200. You guys, I don't know how this happened. I don't know what we bought. You know how it is. Oh, we need this, and oh, that looks good. And with my husband with me, $192.95 later. We did buy some pretty nice steaks, and they were delicious, but this may end up putting us over budget with groceries for the month. We'll see. All right. On the 29th, I had a YouTube channel membership come out that gets categorized as auto pay for $14.99. Netflix came out as well. That's also auto pay. And that is $15.49. One more auto pay for the 29th. My husband's Onyx Maps subscription came out. And that was $15.89. Then on the 30th, we had Disney Plus, with a lot of our streaming services kind of come out in this last week of the month. So that's also auto pay, and that amount was $13.99. On the 1st, we went to Dollar General. We need to really stop with these like little trips to the store for just 1 or 2 things, because those things add up. Categorized this as spending at $6.60, and that was everything for the week. So yeah, now I just need to go through, highlight each of my categories and get everything added up. So for auto pay, I'm just going to have my calculator going here. We had $26.01 plus $14.99 plus $15.49 plus $15.89 plus $13.99. So that was everything for auto pay, for a total of $86.37. Okay. Very excited that we didn't do any eating out. That was part of the reason we ended up going to get the steaks, because my husband kind of justified it, saying, well, we didn't eat out this week. But realistically, our eating out budget by that point in time was already gone, so we shouldn't have done that. But we did, so it is what it is. For my buffer, that was just 108. That is a lost number. All right, let's do green for spending. $4.98 plus $5.49 plus $36.31 plus $6.60. Oh, plus, almost forgot this one, $9.92. So $63 $38.30 in spending. All right, and then that just leaves these couple of grocery transactions. So we had $192.95 plus $145.58. Yikes. $338.53. Good news is that we will probably spend less in the first week of July because we spent so much more in this last week of June. So let's add this up. I'm not going to include the buffer here because I don't need that for my variable tracking. 448.20 plus 108 for the buffer. So I'm going to pull this expense tracker out because I need this information to help me fill in my hybrid budget worksheet and finish this off for the month. So we're going to go here to week 5. And actually, I'm not going to fold this in half. And we're going to fill it in. So this was June 25th through July 1st. Categories were grocery, eating out, spending, and auto pay. Okay, so we'll start with grocery. What I spent this week was $338.53. At the end of last week, you can see we only had $299.23 left, so we're over budget for grocery. Let's see by how much. So if we subtract that $299.23, so yeah, we are over budget. We have a negative $39.30 remaining, so we went about $40 over budget, which is not the end of the world, but we like to do better than that. So it is what it is. We're starting fresh next week with July, so it's fine. All right, for eating out, we spent nothing this week, which I'm very happy about. At the end of last week, we only had $639 left, and I said, I need to either not eat out at all, or I need to be okay with going over budget. And we went the not eating out at all route. So we have $6.39 remaining there. Would have been better had we not gone overboard with the groceries, but at least the groceries will last us longer than the eating out would have, right? For spending, we spent $63.30. The end of last week, we had $85.81 remaining. So if we subtract the $63.30, that leaves us with $22.51 remaining for spending. So we were under budget there as well, because we're done with June, right? Like we don't have any more weeks left. So whatever we have remaining here is, left over and will help with this overspending in groceries. And then for auto pay, we're over budget as well. We had $33.63 remaining and we spent $86.37. With the way that this month worked out, we had the last few days of May plus the first day of July in our June budget. So I'm not too upset about the fact that we went over budget. It just means that in May and then also in July, we'll be under budget. You know what I mean? Hopefully that makes sense. So we had $33.63 remaining. We spent $86.37, which means we went over budget by $52.74. So overall, we spent, I said it was $448.20. That's what I got on my rough draft. Let's just double check that math. Yep, $488.20. We only had $425.06 remaining overall. So we did go over budget in variable. So I'm going to add the positives here, $639 and the $22.51, and then subtract the negatives. Yeah, we were over budget in our variable categories by $63.14. So not the best, but certainly not the worst. So let's go ahead and fill in this now. So for auto pay, we started out the month with $300. We have negative $52.74 remaining. So that means we spent $352.74. So I can put that in our actual column. For groceries, we started out with $1,200 and we're over budget by $39.30. So we spent $1,239.30. For eating out, we were under budget a little bit. We started with $400, which is already a lot. So the fact that we were under budget by $6 is not really worth celebrating, but we spent $393.61 on eating out this month. And then for spending, again, we had a pretty high budget, so the fact that we came in under budget isn't really a win. I'd like to see our overall grocery budget, eating out budget, spending budget, all of that I'd like to see go down ultimately, but for this month, we came in under budget at $477.49. And then for our buffer, we spent $108 of that. Granted, it was for a good reason. We put that towards debt, but we did use that, so I want to make sure it's accounted for here. And now let's add up all of these actual numbers and see how we did overall. We're looking for $5,925 or less. So let's see if we came in under budget overall. Some of these bills we came in significantly under budget, but there were some bills we went over budget in as well. So it's really a crapshoot this month. Let's see. So we only spent $5,583 with 89 cents. So that's really, really good. Now, the main reason I can tell you is because we didn't go to Sam's Club. That $300 that we didn't spend at Sam's Club really helped us out here. But we also came in under budget for some of our bills, like our lot rent, we budgeted $800, but we only spent $712. We were under budget in storage. We were under budget by just a couple dollars in our gas bill. Obviously, we had almost $100 in our buffer. So all of those things really did make a difference. It actually seems like we're under budget by more than I expected. $341.11. So yeah, 300 of that is just the Sam's Club here. So thankfully we didn't go to Sam's Club. Otherwise it would have been a lot tighter. So yeah, that's it, you guys. That's my June budget done. This video ended up being shorter than I thought, so that's not too shabby. I'm gonna go ahead and turn the page and start budgeting for July, but that'll be a separate video, so be on the lookout for that. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and I will see you next time. Bye!